So at the time I'm doing this commentary, the trade hasn't technically happened yet. It's basically happened. It's draft compensation plus Dennis Smith, so I'm assuming second-round picks from the Knicks going to the Pistons. If the deal for some reason falls through, then this video will just get deleted. So for the Pistons' sake, I mean, there's a chance they could grow Dennis Smith into being something. I mean, there was potential there at times, but how smart is he as a player, and how good of a shooter is he, and that sort of stuff. We know he can get downhill and go to the basket. How good of a playmaker is he? He does need to learn how to be a point guard, even if there is some athletic gifts and some talent in there. There's a chance that they don't hold on to him after this season, but they're basically just taking a flyer on the guy. They're also getting the pick, of course, so you figure why not. Now, for the Knicks' sake, I know there's been conversation, at least I saw it a little bit last night, of, well, how does this affect Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett and all that? I figure you can play Immanuel Quickley next to Derrick Rose, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, this Knicks defense has been good enough to where I don't think just having those two out there together would suddenly tank the whole defense. Now, I'm a little concerned with Derrick Rose and Elfrid Payton being out there because the spacing with those two might be a little rough, especially if Payton's the one playing off the ball, which you imagine he would be. And with Quickley, now there's two guys who could be playing above him, and there already has been the Payton-Quickley thing the Knicks fans have been a little upset about. The other thing, too, with Derrick Rose is I'm a little concerned he's going to take the whole offense because his usage rate is like among the highest in the league. It's like around 28 to 29% or something, which was like 30th among guys who get actual minutes. And I don't think that's the best thing for this Knicks team. I do think they definitely need a little bit more punch on offense and somebody who can create a shot and all that nice stuff. But I'm just concerned that Derrick Rose is going to be taking a few too many shots away from Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Quickley, and all that. But there's definitely a middle ground where it can work out, where Derrick Rose bails them out of possessions with isolations and gets more downhill action with pick and rolls and that sort of thing. And I think he can play off of the Julius Randle elbow game where guys are cutting off of that. And I also feel like if Randle is in a post-up, if RJ Barrett is running the offense himself, is the defense going to ignore Derrick Rose? I don't know. I mean, he can certainly attack a closeout. His three-point shot has been up and down. It's been better than his worst days, I guess. I don't know if that's the best thing you want to hear, but I feel like there is a world in which D. Rose can provide enough spacing and enough downhill action and enough scoring, and he's not going to hijack the chemistry of the team that much, and he can still fit in with everybody else. Now, if he steps in and it becomes the D. Rose show and suddenly RJ's just sitting in the corner too much and the Julius Randle Magic Johnson impersonation is suddenly not as much of a thing anymore, then I think this could end up backfiring on the Knicks a bit. If we talk about on defense, I mean, D. Rose has played under Tibbs enough times now. I feel like he's going to buy into everything Tibbs needs him to do on defense, whether that's fighting over screens or switching or collapsing into the paint, closing out to shooters, rotating, just the basic stuff that the Knicks have done. And just they've done it at a really, really high effort level this season. I don't think their defensive scheme is anything too crazy. It's just they play so hard and they communicate so well that they're currently the sixth best defense in the league. And I don't think Derrick Rose is going to kill that stuff. If anything, just as a team defender, I think he'll be good. Like, yeah, you might be able to get by D. Rose and some ISOs, and I don't know if he's just going to be regular season Eric Bledsoe-esque in fighting around screens, but I think he can fit into the Knicks' defensive culture. I suppose there is also potential for D. Rose, Julius Randle, pick and rolls, or Mitchell Robinson, similar things. Maybe Obi Toppin as well, but I feel like teams would be more inclined to switch that sort of a thing. Also, is Tibbs even just going to give Obi that many minutes? That's another question, of course. But I do think this can give the Knicks a more dynamic offense where teams can not just game plan for the Julius Randle do everything stuff or RJ Barrett. It just creates another extra thing for them to have. And now it's just going to be Tibbs' job to manage that well. You know, you don't want every possession being a Derrick Rose pick and roll or ISO, but a few more a game can't hurt you depending on the situation and all that stuff. I think there's some other questions. For one, will D Rose be healthy for this season? We'll have to see. Also, what would the Knicks plan for a Derrick Rose extension? Is it just one season? Is that all they're going with? Is this just kind of a short-sighted move with Tibbs' influence, or is this more of a, like, we want to hold on to Derrick Rose for the last part of his career? I mean, I think it can be a great story, and if D Rose is willing to not take as many shots and fit in more so than anything else, then I think it could be cool if he's re-signed to, I mean, what would it be? Like somewhere between like a 7 to 10, maybe a little higher $1 million annual contract. I mean, they're certainly going to have cap space. They've only got $54 million committed to this roster after this season. And among all their guys who are hitting free agency, I don't think any of them is a must re-sign dude. I mean, maybe Reggie Bullock, just because he's been a quality enough role player for him. But even then, I could picture them just being content with letting him walk. So if they want to give D Rose another contract, it's not going to kill their cap situation much at all, at least as far as I can see, especially because they've got Austin Rivers is non-guaranteed $3 million, so that could give them a little bit more money this offseason as well. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe they want to move him by the deadline. Although if he's traded now, I don't know if he would have enough days to be traded again by the deadline. My guess is that's not the plan here. I suppose it could be possible that they think a sign-and trade next offseason is a possibility. So they're opening themselves up to then getting something for D Rose, but at the same time, and there's a chance I'm just going way too far with this. I don't really think they're thinking about moving D Rose in the future, but what would a D Rose sign and trade down the road look like? I don't know. Would it be to a contender? Maybe not. A couple second round picks, maybe. Perhaps you end up getting more than you traded for the guy in the first place. Again, I don't think they're planning that, but I just can't help but speculate it a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see if D Rose hijacks the offense. We'll have to see if the Knicks still have the same energy that they've had for the first 20 games or so this year with D Rose. I think there's some people who are going to say this move is bad. I think there are some who are going to be like, woohoo, Derrick Rose. I'm just kind of in the middle. I just kind of want to wait and see. I mean, I do think there's an incentive sometime to like give the strong take, but I don't know. I don't have a particularly strong take. I feel like it can go either way. Which I guess means I'm more cautious and perhaps more negative on the move, because I'm certainly not overwhelmingly positive on the deal. So I guess there you go. I'm maybe like 60-40. I don't know if I would have done this one.